Now, it seems as if, of course, at the base, most of the battles,
Yes.
even at the level of the legislature, has a great deal to do with resources, allocation, use, and so on. Which brings me to the issue of appropriation, which is the main power that the legislature or the National Assembly has. And in the more recent past, although if one were to look at it from way back too, there were already indications that this was going to be some level of a problem. What I mean by that is the issue of budget.
Yes.
There seems to be that it seems to be that even almost 20 years into this democracy, there's still not too much clarity about the role of the executive in the budget process and the role of the legislature, which is what leads to friction. Friction then produces delay. And then everybody starts to blame everybody else, and then at the end, of course, the country suffers. Now, you've been around this budget circle for many, many times. What exactly is the nub of the problem?
Well, basically, all through history, it's always been accepted that public fund belongs to the people. And so it can only be managed by the representatives of the people, which in most cases are the members of the parliament. And so that's why, if you look at Section 80 and 81 of the Constitution, it's saying that there must be an appropriation bill, which is like the estimate from the executive to the National Assembly. Now saying this is what we want to do. It becomes the responsibility of the National Assembly to take it from them and look at it and do whatever they want to do with it in terms of amendment and restructuring to ensure that the monies are evenly distributed, that it was actually, because they say two heads are usually better than one. We need to find out that they did the correct thing. Because sometimes you will discover that the executive will be appropriating or budgeting for some projects that already had been completed. When Ekweremadu was president, he brought a budget. So we started to look at the budget for Ministry of Works. We set up a committee and headed. We looked at the whole thing that was budgeted for Ministry of Works. We discovered that some of those road projects have those things been completed, and they keep on budgeting for them from year to year. We saved a whole lot of money, which we used to do what we call regional projects. This was distributed apart amongst the 6 geopolitical zones, and then that took care of a number of projects. So you can see the wisdom in presenting the estimate to the National Assembly for them to have a look at. Now, in the last amendment to the Constitution, there was some aspects of the revenue that was of concern to us. We discovered that we're a country that doesn't save money. So we decided to amend Section 162, because under Section 162, all monies coming to the federal government must go to one account called the Federation account. But it goes further in that section to say that these monies must now be distributed among the federal, the state, and the local government. And no provision was made for savings. And so when the federal government wanted to do savings, of course, governors went to court. So what they call the excess crude account. Now, because of the political nature of it, that matter is yet to be decided. But the truth of the matter is that it is unconstitutional. So we decided to amend the Constitution to make a provision for some sort of saving before distribution, so which we did. Regrettably, even though it passed through the National Assembly, passed through the states, but the president refused to assent to it. Because I think too that there was some aspect of it too that the president found a little conflicting, because we're also talking about the issue of presenting budget at appropriate time. Okay. And then, under the Constitution, under Section 82, if the budget has not been passed in a particular year, the executive the president or the governor, as the case may be, can authorize the expenditure, based on the estimate of the previous year, up to the 6 months into the year. We said, no, that's too much. Let's limit it to 3 months. This will put pressure on both the executive and legislature to expedite the process of the appropriation. Yes. And then there was more responsibility in the appropriation process. Again, that was not assented to. So sometimes we meet some frustrations in trying to push these reforms, but we're not going to get tired of trying.
Now, something else that seems to create some level of disaffection in the polity it's done everywhere else within the system. But when it happens in the legislature, it tends to generate a great deal of heat. And that has to do with the issue of people moving from one party to another. Most recently, that happened, and it created a storm. That storm was so loud that it was about to consume even the stability in terms of leadership of the National Assembly, particularly the Senate. What's the situation with that now?
Well, that's only in respect of the parliament. It was only the legislature where one can have liberty. Where in case of the executive, you can move from party A to party B. But in case of the legislature, you have this restriction that you can't move from party A to party B unless you can show that there is a faction, in the party. But parliamentarians most times, they take advantage of that provision without looking at the proviso, and then they just keep moving forth and back. And because the court process have been quite slow in dealing with the matter, so most political parties are reluctant to file action against a member of their party that have moved from their party to another. But it's something we need to work around, because sometimes it's difficult to apprehend why people have to leave. But sometimes they feel dissatisfied with the way they are treated by the political parties. So they have to respond in a particular way. So I think the issue of internal democracy in parties, and making sure that people are accommodated, within the concept, of a true democracy in their political parties. This can also help to assuage members of National Assembly and even state assemblies, so that they don't have to get into this temptation of moving from party A to party B. Because sometimes when you treat people in such a manner as if, you just collected their money, they ran for primaries and nobody cares, sometimes so you can ignite this kind of attitude. Or when you're heading to primaries and you're not sure you're going to get a fair deal. So sometimes they have to move to another political party where they think they can get some reprieve. And the other issue is this issue of trying to stop people because if you've gone one term, you need to go. So when they are not sure of getting tickets because of that principle or that arrangement, they now migrate to another political party where they may have opportunity on trying. So there are so many reasons that is affecting that. But I think there's something over time we'll be able to come over it. Because if a place like Ghana, you can't even talk about moving from one political party to another. For them, they don't even understand that it exists. It exists because it's not part of their political culture.